paper magic will survive like the heat death of the universe, and will...
Oh, it's a smuggler's copter. Would you like to crew this? And then it crashes because they don't understand arithmetic.
All your cards belong to me.
2 minutes into macing him in the eyeballs, I switched to pepper spray. He's like, it's all right, refreshing. And went back to the mace.
Magic is dying. I'm done. Selling everything.
I might be a hoarder. And yes,
I don't have the crayons or glue to explain this to you right now.
What, are you gonna die twice?
Oil will be worthless before magic cards will.
Well, okay, Dr. Man.
That's Mr. Dr. Professor Jason.
Welcome into Brainstorm Brewery, everybody. I'm Corbin Hostler. I am joined with... Okay, restart, redo. Generally joined by.
Why?
Because I think it'd be better to say joined by instead of joined with, if you know what I mean.
No, I don't. And all of this is staying in now because you did that. This is your punishment and your cross to bear.
Well, welcome into the show, everybody.
You nickel and diming 3 seconds in over semantics is going to make that into the intro.
That was my plan, question mark? No, it wasn't. I was thinking about the Strixhaven Prerelease, though, and how it fried my brain. That is why I'm not firing at all cylinders today. But welcome into Brainstorm Brewery. I'm Corbin, joined by DJ.
Intro to potions? Did you fail? What?
I O2 dropped.
Happened, bud?
I O2 dropped. And I had a moment happen to me that has never happened to anyone in the history of Magic.
You got unlucky?
No. In the first game of the pre-release, on turn 6.
Oh, I hope you got Armageddon.
My opponent, it's worse. My opponent cast Improvisation Capstone, which for those who don't know, JJ will put that one up on the screen. That's a really cool lesson card out of Secrets for Strixhaven.
Read the card.
Yeah, I'm in there. Exile cards from the top of your library until you exile cards with total mana value 4 or greater. You can cast any number of them for free. And it has Paradigm, which is the new and improved Epic. So instead of, like, for people who were around when they originally did the Epic mechanic forever ago, it was when you cast this spell, you could no longer cast any spells for the rest of the game, but you cast this spell every turn. So Paradigm is this triggered ability where once you cast a spell, you get to cast it every turn for the rest of the game in your first main phase, except you also get to play the game normally. And sometimes you get more than one spell with it, because if you flip a 10-drop off of this, you get it. If you flip a 2-drop off of this, you get it. If you flip a 2-drop and then a 10-drop, you get it. So anything that adds up to 4 or greater, you will get. And the first card my opponent hit with this was, in fact, Armageddon. And I
called it.
I was Armageddon, but it's... Armageddon in a pre-release sounds terrible. Armageddon when you're then getting a free spell every turn, so you get to play Magic and they don't. Pretty impressive.
Did you let them continue to play the game, or did you just concede immediately?
No. Because I was in a winning position when this crap happened. Like, we continued to play the game. I lost. The second game, they cast the spell again. And I died to it again. However, one fun note about Improvisation Capstone. You exile the cards. They don't get put back on the bottom of your library in a random order when you're done exiling. They're just exiled. So I can see, some amount of, I guess, downside there. Because I played this one out in game 2. Because I was definitely in a winning position when it happened in game 2. And they almost decked. We get down to the bottom of their library. They have 2 cards left. They're flipping for their Improvisation Capstone on the turn before they have lethal. They're either going to flip a land or the last spell in their deck, they tell me. And, of course, they flip the last spell in their deck instead of the land, so they don't end up decking. And, oh, by the way, the last spell in their deck is another mythic. They had 5 mythics on color in their pool. And then in my next round... we played 3 games, and in 2 of them, I didn't draw a third land. So I just O2 dropped the pre-release for the first time in 20 years. Pretty crazy. And
did you make any stops on the way home? Like the laundromat or something?
Why? Go
you're
on.
Washed, Corbin.
I'm washed. Yes. Okay. Yeah. I'm washed. I'm cooked. However, it was nice for that person to get to, as I put it, have a generational high roll. Like, that would be the dream in Powered Cube, you know? And they did it to me in match one, game one of the pre-release. So good for them. Happy for them.
My friend got Armageddon in his pre-release, and he didn't have the capstone, but he had the card flashback.
Yeah, that worked too, kind of.
Just really the second Armageddon if the first one doesn't get there. And,
Gosh. So anyway, I guess I don't really have a lot of feedback about the set because I got to do one pre-release. That was my experience. Also, I didn't get a pre-release kit because this set was extremely popular and blew past the number of allocations that Wizards gave to the store. So even on the first night, it was, if you want to play, we'll just give you packs. And I said, sure, I want to play. So I took packs.
I had blue-red as my kit because I didn't really care which one I got. And I also had 5, I didn't have 5 mythics, but I did have several rares. I had an Is It deck that splashed for the black paradigm or the dissertation or whatever, the black epic spell. Which is 5 mana, Sign in Blood, and then target player loses 2 life and draws 2 cards, and then you copy it every turn for the rest of the game.
You're pointing at them.
You can point it at them. I did do that a couple times. And I had the Black Emeritus Demonic Tutor prepared creature, the 4 mana 5/4 that when it enters comes prepared. It has Demonic Tutor. So I was able to use that to search for the Black Paradigm in my otherwise blue-red deck. The format felt good and interesting, but felt very powerful. I went 2-1. In my last round, I played against somebody who played the blue Ancestral Emeritus guy, and he cast Ancestral Recall 5 times in 3 games.
Well, that seems difficult to beat.
I almost beat him in 2 games, and I made 1 misplay on turn 5 of the second game that cost me 1 damage. And I said, I hope that doesn't cost me, but I bet it will. And then on like turn 12 or 13, I got him to 1 and then died. And it's like, well,
for what it's worth, there's a couple ways to look at that, DJ. You noticed where you lost the point of damage, which means you know where to fix it. A lot of times in a lot of games people lose of Magic, they don't ever figure out where they screwed up.
Oh, for sure. And then it's just I got unlucky or whatever. But my mistake was I forgot that casting a prepared spell in the main phase would count as an instant, or main phase 1 would count as an instant or sorcery to buff my guy for because I just went to combat, attack you, second main, prepared my guy, play my.
It's weird to not think of them as abilities. I mean, they are abilities, but they cast the spell, right? So
yeah,
I agree with you. Format seems very powerful. I had the Swords to Plowshares prepared guy. It didn't help against Armageddon, but it was a cool card. The format seems like it's going to be... I'm really glad the Paradigm Cycle is at Mythic. I had the green one in my pool, and while I didn't get to play it, if I ever had gotten to play it, it's completely unbeatable. It's 5 mana, put 2 counters on each creature you control every turn for the rest of the game.
Yeah, my friend who got the Armageddon also pulled that card and was like, I really want to find a way to play this, but he just couldn't.
Yeah, it's just... It's beyond broken, and I don't have all of them in front of me to know how good they all are, etc. But the green one's probably the most powerful and limited. Like the red one came with a real risk of decking yourself.
Same with the black one. Yeah, I had to make interesting decisions at every time when that card was on the field of, who do I target with this, or do I cast it at all? You are allowed to not cast the card, which is like a thing you can do with the red one.
Oh, does it still get exiled? Yeah, it still does. Interesting. Yeah. But yeah, you're not forced into it. Well, that was at a high level, the pre-release. Now, at an anecdotal level. At a high level, it seemed very busy. The price on collector boosters has gone up, I believe, although it's perhaps showing a little higher on TCG Player because it's pre-sales than it maybe is in real life, where I'm seeing them go for 400s still.
You want to know a fun fact about this set?
Yeah.
Since the introduction of equipment in Mirrodin, so 23 years ago, Secrets of Strixhaven is the first booster set to not have any equipments or auras.
I have to agree, that is a fun fact. Not something I would have ever thought about, yet undeniably true.
I mean, you can deny it. Like you're allowed to. Corbin, people deny things that are true a lot.
Well, yeah,
out.
I mean, what about The Walking Dead? That has its own set code. Did that have either of those mechanics? No. No, but yeah, that is a fun. Actually, it probably did.
The Walking Dead had Lucille.
It probably did have those mechanics.
Corbin, The Walking Dead had the baseball bat.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Interesting. No, that is a fun fact, especially since the Silverquil Precon is making all the auras in Magic spike right now. I don't know how closely you've been following that.
I've noticed a few things as I sell out of various cards and archetypes that I notice on the pull list when I generate it in the mornings. But
yeah,
I am very, very happy to sell copies of, what is it, Retether?
Yep.
If you go into the Brainstorm Brewery archives, our giant library that is equivalent to the Strixhaven library in size, we have like 4 or 5 Palantir data centers worth of Brainstorm Brewery episodes somewhere. But like if you go back into the dusty, like you put it in your CD-ROM or your floppy disk drive, then you can find me screeching to the heavens about the 4-mana sorcery from Planar Chaos called Retether, which is return all auras from your graveyard to the battlefield, attached to whatever they can be attached to. And I bought so many of those at a quarter. So many.
Yeah, and you almost got blown out because it actually, well, to be fair, you never got blown out because it climbed up to $5 and then $10. So you never actually lost it, but it did fall down to as low as $2 again last year after it was reprinted in the Commander Wilds of Eldraine set. Fortunately, they never reprinted it after that. So that just meant there were actual copies you could find in the wild of Retether for cheap because the Commander Wilds of Eldraine version is $20 as well.
It's really interesting to see everything constantly getting reprinted, every card for the most part, except for a few specific asset classes, which we'll probably talk about later today, just has so many reprints, and there is still just such a massive demand for all of this stuff right now. It's very surreal. It feels almost COVID era-esque, but there are events firing. There is an ecosystem currently going right now. There's not a global pandemic, and it's not like the world is shut down, but we're seeing the similar levels of just people playing Magic, and it's mainstream. It's crept into the corridors of the modern zeitgeist, or however you want to say it. And
yeah,
I was talking with somebody on Discord earlier, and they said that the fact that regular versions of Smothering Tithe and Ristic Study is still being $50 is just such a canary in the coal mine for just the health of the game as a whole. And people are allowed to deny that as much as they want. You're certainly allowed to do that, and you're allowed to say those words in that order in my ears, and that's unfortunately a reality of the world. But the fact that those cards still sell at $50, people are still putting together deck lists and sending them to me and willing to pay these numbers for these staples that haven't been just crushed into dust like the Felterlands. That Magic is booming. It's just the way it is. Yeah, it's the whole Parks and Rec meme. I was talking have you seen Parks and Rec, Corbin?
I've seen quite a bit.
Wow. Okay. You know the dictator guy who comes to visit, you litter, go to jail, believe it or not, still jail. Yeah. Yeah, it's like economy good, Magic is good. Economy's bad, believe it or not, Magic's still good.
I both know that meme and that episode, and it's very funny. I'm not gonna lie, and maybe this is the most boomer take I've ever had. That was a really cozy era of television. There was that, The Office, a lot of really intimately filmed shows that were about small things. That's all. It's kind of interesting. All right. Your point.
Do you think there's a void of that right now?
I think that streaming has fragmented everything to such a degree that almost nothing can gain the same kind of cultural relevance that those things had, as maybe.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Like an entire generation of human beings between the ages now of 30 and 40 grew up on Office and Parks and Rec memes, and it was there for a decade, right? Or whatever, or 30 Rock. that, you know, that whole genre of shows.
And nowadays the memes get shared and posted and cultivated without people needing to understand the original source material. Like you can still make those, like you could still do, look what they need to mimic a fraction of our power. Never seen an episode of Invincible in my life, but I understand it through just, it's like how I'm progressively watching all of the seasons of Suits just at 30 seconds at a time.
I did that.
When I go to the bathroom. Like
I did that. I've seen the whole show now.
I'm working on it. Yeah. I had the realization of maybe I should watch this for real recently.
No. I did that too, DJ. I went through the whole. YouTube just does this, man, and they pick the stuff that they're the algorithms. Suits got pushed to me for weeks, and I resisted it because I was like, "This is a stupid USA show or whatever it was." I never watched any of that crap. I never got into those shows. They're all just made to fill as many hours as possible on cable television.
It's a cool premise. Fuck you.
Well, listen, I started watching clips of the show finally, and what I realized is that in a 22 episode season, if you cut out all the bullshit and YouTube only serves you the highlights of the season and you get to follow the main season storyline and not the 14 different tangents they went into to fill literal 14 weeks of television or whatever, it was pretty good. I got all the high points of the show. I'll never watch it now because I know everything about it. Why would I
it's a shame Jason can't get those hours of his life back for Scrubs.
Right, exactly. Imagine if he had just consumed Scrubs in this way. And you know what? I did the same thing with The Boys. I'm ready to watch the final season of The Boys now.
But
it's smart. So, I want to watch the last season.
On the other hand, I watched Star Wars for the first time when I was like 24-ish, 23.
I remember that.
And I was able to keep cultural competency of the show prior to my watching it.
Yeah.
Even though it was supposedly one of these universally experienced things.
Wow.
Riddle me that, Hostler.
Yeah, your pattern recognition is good that you were able to mimic the humans around you and ape their behavior. You did it. But yes, it is true that memes are language. Right? Like they're used in place of words and people understand them in the same way that emojis are. But I do hear that Gen Z thinks that
when this world war finally kicks off, which fingers crossed.
I think they're going to say it began with the invasion of Ukraine, but go ahead.
I hope that when we get to the Fallout, for those who don't know, Fallout's a magic set. When we get to the Fallout level of things, I want the person to crawl out of the basement and like look around 400 years later. Speaking of terrible TV shows, The 100. I forget what network it's on, but that one got me through many RuneScape levels. Anyway, I want the first thing somebody finds to be one of those little like doctor's office cat posters hanging hanging there.
Yeah.
That's got to be our stamp on culture.
Mm-hmm.
That if one thing survives, let it be that and Gangnam Style, on an iPod, like just those two.
I think the two things most likely to survive are influencer content and OnlyFans content.
Sure.
I just feel like the timeline that we entered into. Brave guess,
by the way. Very brave of you to guess that porn will still be around 1,000 years
I know. I did think that was controversial yet brave. No, I think that it just seems like those are the only things the algorithms even moderately favor anymore. Well, I shouldn't say OnlyFans. That's usually pushed down. But influencer content, right? And then, as you said, porn will always survive. I don't know. I've been watching a lot of science fiction stuff recently because science fiction's kind of science, I guess, is kind of having a moment. And like, maybe it's ironic that in an age of anti-science with the most anti-science president, science is kind of having a moment. But between the Artemis mission and Project Hail Mary blowing up as a movie, big moment for people who know things. Speaking of knowing things, Breaking Bulk time.
Flawless transition.
I know, that was so good. All right, DJ, I'm sure to be stumped because it is just you and me this week, but what are you looking at?
I have a black common from Innistrad Crimson Vow.
The vampire that sacks other vampires?
No.
Is it a vampire?
No.
Oh. Okay.
It is a vampire adjacent card.
Yeah, I mean, that's all anyone knows about
That's
the
the
set.
whole set, yeah.
I remember like Blood Baron in that. No. Anyway, that's pretty dumb and pretty pandemic in my mind. Is it some kind of I don't know. I remember back in the day, was it there was a card that gave your vampires plus 2/0 and first strike, and it was just a combat trick that was good because it went with vampires. I assume it's not similar.
Vampiric Fury from Original Innistrad, I think.
I think so, yeah. Anyway, what is this one? Is it in that vein? Is it like a vampire specific spell?
It is Blood Fountain, which is not a vampire specific spell, actually, even though it says its name is Blood Fountain.
Oh no, I've recently passed over these in bulk thinking
It's
they
fine.
were still bulk.
They're barely breaking bulkable.
Okay,
My machine does barely pick them, so it is kind of at the close threshold. But it is a common with market price 41 cents. Cool stuff will pay you 15 cents a piece per copy. 1 mana artifact. When Blood Fountain enters the battlefield, create a blood token. And for those of you who are newer to Magic, blood tokens don't have anything to do with life gain or life loss like you might think they would. They are just artifacts that
That's a
discard
good
a card
point.
and draw a card.
That's a good point.
Every time I see cards from this set, it always feels like something was changed very late in design.
This was a pandemic set, right?
It was a pandemic set, yes, but it wasn't designed during the pandemic, I don't think.
I'd say I don't. We'd have to go look at a calendar, but
It was
yeah.
winter of 2021. I remember that because this set was being previewed when I was on the couch from tearing my ACL, MCL, meniscus all at once.
Well,
So that
you're right. It may
particular-
or may not have been impacted by the pandemic. There, yeah.
But then you pay 4 mana and tap, sacrifice it, return 2 target creatures from your graveyard to your hand. So it's just a little limited filler thing, but it's a colored artifact that draws cards, kind of. So I mean, makes some artifacts, puts them into play. It does some things.
Yeah, I'm a little shocked that is like that's one of those I used to know as a pick, but it doesn't really do anything. But I'm shocked that blood tokens, now that you mention it, in fact, don't have anything to do with life gain or life loss. That is what I would have assumed. Instead, they were made to be fully limited functional filler mechanic, you know.
And then there's the Odric that is a vampire that exclusively deals with blood tokens, not anything else really. It's very, very weird set.
Obviously, draining for one would be the most flavorful thing there, but I have to imagine that would be a very powerful mechanic.
Yes, yeah.
Interesting. Okay. All right. I've got one for you in the same vein that used to be a pick and at various times has fallen out of a pick or I thought wasn't a pick. And yet it still is a pick. It's a blue uncommon from Original Ixalan.
Oof.
There's only the one.
Fish freak.
There's only this set sucks for bulk, by the way. Unclaimed territory is $1.
Is it one in a
and that's
blue
it.
enchantment when you cast a merfolk, make a 1/1 token?
No, not a merfolk.
Is it Chart a Course?
No.
I think that's common.
Yeah, it's been Chart a Course is uncommon in that set, but I assume it's been reprinted too much to be worth.
Is it the 1 mana 1/1 flyer that comes in and does something?
Closer. There you go. Yeah. Siren Storm Tamer has recently spiked again. It's almost $1. It is a 1 mana 1/1 flyer. It's a Siren Pirate Wizard with blue and sacrifice Siren Storm Tamer. Counter target spell or ability that targets you or a creature you control. I know this one because I played in my Azami Wizards deck because you can play it. It's a wizard. You can tap it to draw a card, and then you can sacrifice it to save your Azami. It's a sweet little wizard. And it's $1 again. So go ahead and pick these up. It was in Ixalan, Commander Legends, Commander Lost Caverns of Ixalan, and the list. Now it's really probably just the original one that's got a good number associated with right now. But buy list algorithms on these things can move, etc. So take a look at all of your Siren Storm Tamers.
And if you want to take a look at all of the Siren Storm Tamers and every set and foiling this card has to offer, all you have to do is go to mtgban.com, type in the card name, and then it'll pull up every version of the card ever printed, and you can sort it by retail price, by buy list price, by release date, by alphabetical, by collector number. You can download every version of this card as a CSV if you really want to get in the tank on one of your specs and be like, okay, I want to look at every version of Phyrexian Unlife or Blood Fountain or some terrible Merfolk card that Corbin loves. You can just download every single retail price of every card and use your Scryfall search parameters to get really weird with it. I have bought a collection recently that was one of every foil card from New Phyrexia. Very cool collection. And the person said, how much would you give me on this? I verified that, yes, this is all of the cards in New Phyrexia, which when you look at like all of the cards in a small set in a binder, it doesn't actually look like that many cards. It's very small, which I guess small sets are. And it's only like 150 cards. So I looked at, yep, that's a New Phyrexia set. Typed in S:NPH* into ban, pulls up every foil card from New Phyrexia, download all of the retail and buy list prices as a CSV file, re-upload that into Google Sheets, mess around with it for a bit. And now I know what Card Kingdom, Star City, Cool Stuff, Strike Zone are all paying for a full foil set of New Phyrexia, assuming it's a near mint condition. And you can also use ban to get the conditions and the languages and all of that stuff. So I just was able to give them an immediate number for a full set of New Phyrexia without doing any complex math or, let me add up all of the expensive cards in this set one at a time.
That is what I would have done back in the day. Yeah.
And you just have the data. And then if you really want to be lazy about it, you can buy the cards and then click another button and fill a Card Kingdom buy list cart with those cards. And then just mail that to Card Kingdom and you've made money. Congratulations. You did a whole capitalism.
And if you want to do a whole capitalism at a discount, you can use the code 50BSB. That'll get you 50% off the first month, which on top of the free trial period you get anyway, makes BAN a great investment. So go ahead and check out MTG BAN. We appreciate them sponsoring this podcast and all the features that they have that we use, like DJ mentioned. So, all right, let's move on to a topic that we're going to be using BAN quite a bit for in the future and now, I'm sure, because these cards have a lot of interesting set of circumstances. Now, as everyone knows, or maybe some new listeners don't.
You said that like they're about to get canceled.
Yeah, well,
you said that like they made bad tweets.
They canceled the reprints on them, essentially. I mean, look, here's what we're going to do. We're going to look at Universes Beyond, and we're going to talk about it as a pseudo reserved list. And very briefly, for those who haven't been listening to this podcast forever, because this is a conversation that comes up in my store where people go, what is the reserved list? Because if you started playing Magic with Avatar, someone talking to you about the reserved list in 1994 makes you want to blow your brains out, right? But so all you really need to know is that there's a list of very powerful cards that Wizards has promised to never reprint. It may or may not be a legal promise.
There's an asterisk on that. It's a list of either very powerful or terrible cards.
Right, yes. Very old cards that in 1995, I believe was the year, Wizards decided that they were never going to reprint because they had done a reprint set and it had crashed the market. And that put a lot of distrust into people spending money on Magic cards, which obviously is bad for Wizards and bad for the existence of Magic. So they created the reserved list. Now, fast forward 30 years, what matters is that powerful cards like the Power 9 or the Dual Lands or all of these things that are very needed for the highest competitive levels, not even competitive, just like the highest power levels of play are on the reserved list. So it's created this, that's how you get things like Moxes being worth thousands of dollars. It's surely you've heard of Black Lotus, etc. Everyone hates the reserved list except for, DJ and vendor class, blah, blah, blah.
I don't care.
Yeah, like I'm just saying, I'm not trying to stir up anything. I'm just saying the general take among the Magic populace is that everyone hates the reserved list, right?
You just tried to throw me under the bus.
I was trying to, you've talked, listen, I was trying to reference the fact that we've talked on this show about how Magic benefits from having that class of cards.
I think Magic benefits from having that class of cards, and I also think that if Wizards was going to get rid of the reserved list, there are several clear and obvious points to do so that they chose not to opt into. So yep. I think anybody at this point who is trying to make some sort of weird caveat rule or like actually this is how they can do it with snow duels is is doing more of a disservice to the internet than some of the people who are denying things out there for real. So
yeah, we're kind of just that was a topic of discussion when I got into Magic in 2008, and at that point maybe there was something that could have been done. At this point, it's so entrenched, nothing's changing. So like DJ said, it's just your energy could be better spent on basically anything else. Like, for instance, getting ahead of the next reserved list, which in so many words is where Universes Beyond comes into play. Because what is the most unlikely card to be reprinted in Magic the Gathering today? The average unlikely to be reprinted card, therefore the card that you would feel more comfortable putting your money in, is a Universes Beyond card. Compared to usual Magic cards that just get, whether it's something like Retether and it has the one, and that's fine, they still spike, but some of the cards will have 10 printings, they get driven into the ground. But so when, as a vendor, right, if I'm buying cards coming across, one of the things that I have to be aware of is sometimes I'll scan the price on a card and it'll be, say, $15. But I need to be aware of the fact that they've reprinted that card into two of the last 3 rounds of precons, and it's actually a $5 card now. So it has sort of these knock-on effects where I feel more comfortable spending my money and training a store employee to spend money on things that are unlikely to be reprinted. And the things that are most unlikely to be reprinted are obviously Universes Beyond. And that's how we now live in a world where, say, something like, there are so many, I don't want to call them bulk rares because they're not bulk rares, but unexciting rares and type cards from sets like Fallout or Warhammer that are really expensive, and something like Atomize is a really go-to example for me because that's a Universes Beyond Fallout card. It came out and it was $1, and it was a couple dollars, and it was $1 last summer. And it's like, okay, well, this is great. It's unlikely to be reprinted. It says proliferate on it, so that's cool. It's in the Fallout set. People really like it, but at least it's cheap. Okay, well, now it's $15. And look, you can reprint Atomize. It doesn't say rad counters on it or anything like that. But there are cards that do say rad counters on them. And there are cards that do name a specific Final Fantasy character. And we have seen those cards go up in price as well. So I don't know how you're supposed to reprint something like, say, to use a current example, Nurgle's Rot. Are you familiar with this one, DJ?
It sounds like a Warhammer card that gives everything -X and exiles some stuff from the graveyard.
Yeah, close. It is Warhammer. It's an aura. It is enchant creature and opponent controls for 1 mana. When enchanted creature dies, return Nurgle's Rot to its owner's hand, and you create a 1/3 demon token named Plague Bearer of Nurgle. So kind of a neat little design, right? Since it was originally printed in 2023, the card was basically $1 to $2 for 3 years. However, now the Silverquil Precon has come out. Everybody is building it. Nurgle's Rot wants to go into that precon. Nurgle's Rot today will cost you $15 to $20. And for any other normal Magic card, that's great. That just means there's now a great target for a reprint. For something like Nurgle's Rot, it's now something that is just this uncommon that's gating people at $15, $20. And I don't know where they're going to reprint Nurgle's Rot or the next 10 Nurgle's Rots.
It's a lot of, how do I say this? I think that as the years go by and we continue to go on this path of Universes Beyond, I would expect us to passively find out the specifics of reprint clauses in their licensing agreements with these companies. So I think that we could see, like, X number of years from now, we get a Universes Within set of just reprints within Magic's optics and game system and flavor and all of that stuff that are reskins compared to like the reskins we got that are outside of Magic. I think we will get Magic reskins of a lot of these cards, depending on the specificity of the contracts to which they had with Square Enix or whatever company, or Nickelodeon or whatever company they were with, that still gives that company the chance to experience the full player enjoyment of their product, like people playing Avatar or whatever, getting all these things, and then like maybe 5 years down the line we get like a universes within Avatar card that is Aang for all intents and purposes, just like how we got
right.
Primal Vigor, but it's flavored as something from.
Well, and we got the baseball bat.
Arena.
The baseball bat you mentioned earlier actually showed up.
Right, Geese's favorite shovel is Lucille. Like we've seen the Street Fighter cards version of these. We've seen reskins before. I would expect that they have some form of plan to reskin Magic versions of these cards at some point down the line.
So I think there's a couple interesting points that you raised there. One is the idea that there is some type of contract stipulation on Nurgle's Rot has to be named Nurgle's Rot for X number of years before you can print a functionally similar Nurgle's Rot.
Well, it'll still have it could still have Nurgle's Rot in the undername.
Like I guess I don't know that I think that there's even, and we're just all speculating, but I don't know if Wizards would even allow that in a contract to tell them that to agree to not reprint a card. Like to not have printing rights.
That Wizards wouldn't allow that, or the UB company?
No, that Wizards would fundamentally give away their ability to control their own IP, like their own product like that. But I don't know. We don't know anything about it, so it's...
We also, Square Enix paid a lot of money.
Correct. Well,
money talks.
Wizards is licensing the IP, right? Like it's money is going, so it's interesting because obviously the idea is like if you're Square Enix, you wouldn't want them to release Final Fantasy and then Final Fantasy universes within on top of each other, right? So like I see where the discussion comes in here. So maybe it is stipulated, maybe it's not. What I guess I'm saying is I don't know that we will hit a point where it's like they've told us that the statute of limitations is 3 years. So you can expect reprints 3 years after a Universes Beyond card is printed, right? Like, I don't know that we'll ever get that level of specificity on it, but we may start to notice patterns of when they do some of these reprints. Are you thinking they'll do like do you think an actual Masters type set of Universes Within is good? I've always thought of it as they would just target individual ones, which is always going to be like Nurgle's Rot might show up a year from now, you know?
I think a Masters set would be a very good idea that they could get a lot of community goodwill from.
People would buy it, I think. I mean, people buy everything. I'm sure
you make it draftable. You have a lot of weird interactions between various Universes Beyond sets where you're putting Nurgle's Rot and triggering your Sephiroth, and it's like, oh, I haven't gotten a chance to do this before as a longtime Magic player. New Magic players coming in, getting the cards for affordability, and then leading to discovery moments for the other IPs anyway. Yeah.
Well, and if there's one thing we know about Wizards and Magic in general, it's that it's always changing and always adapting to what its players want. And that way, the player base shapes the future of the game just as much as the designers in many ways. So I do think if we hit a point where the market spoke and said, whether they run through the gamut of Grid Universes Beyond in 5 years or whatever it comes to, or rather market sentiment just shifts such that that's not a thing, or maybe they just capture all the players they're going to capture with it, and then they sell us back Universes Beyond cards for a second time as Magic cards, and everyone is happy about the sort of return to the roots of the game. I could see that being a plausible, future that we live in if Universes Beyond hits a point where it has peaked, basically, or rather where it has stagnated.
Because this was the reason they started master sets in the first place. The original Modern Masters was, Tarmogoyf is $150, and all of these uncommons from this set are also $10. Manamorphose, Kitchen Finks, Lightning Helix, whatever, Remand, all of these things are just so expensive. And they're like, let's test the waters with a more expensive pack at like $7 or $8, like the price of a play booster now. It was $7 or $8 for Modern Masters at retail. People clutched their pearls until they turned to dust. And then the set sold out to the point that Tarmogoyf became $200 because anybody that opened a Tarmogoyf wanted 3 more of them. And like, obviously, I don't think we're ever going to know the full extent of the IP contracts or the licensing agreements or whatever. But if we see any sort of allowance for that, which I I would expect we would see. I would put money on that. I would expect we would get some form of functional reprints of Nurgle's Rot and Friends or Sephiroth or what have you. I would expect it. I don't know what the timeline is, but I would expect it to happen at some point in the next 5 years.
Well, this is what I mean. There's 7 sets coming out this year. 3 or 4 of them are UB. There's just it's a very, like we talk about as a reserved list, like there's a really growing list of cards that if you were to sit down 3 years from now and say, okay, time to do Universes Within, obviously you can like look at a list then, but that list is going to be hundreds of cards long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how you get a master set.
Yeah, I guess so. What would be very interesting is if we got that while Universes Beyond is still going strong. If they do just go in parallel.
I think that is likely to happen. I think that they have a large enough player base that they can happily double dip in that kind of product line and say, this isn't for you, and sell the other thing to the other player. And everyone is going to still buy that some form of Magic card in its release while complaining that there are too many sets.
Yeah, I think that's a very realistic possibility. Okay. Well, let's talk about this from a financial perspective for the consumer, right? For the average listener here. Does this mean that, for instance, you should go buy all the Universes Beyond Secret Layers just because they're Universes Beyond, even if you don't care about the IP?
That's what I'm doing.
Well, I know that's what you're doing, but because there's, a margin there that on average that makes it worth it for you and I to resell. Do we think that, say, the average player who thinks they might want a card in one of the whatever's in the current super drop that they might want in the future, that we're like, is the advice, if you think you're ever going to want it, you should get it now because it's not going to be cheaper? Or is it just, this is just sort of a new reality that happens to some cards and we'll see where it goes?
That's broadly been my advice. I gave a talk on how to interact with secret layers as an asset class a few months ago, or maybe last year. It's probably as a short honors channel somewhere. But I think there are 2 kinds of people who should engage with secret layers. Either you want to engage with it from a standpoint of, oh, I will pay attention to the ones that drop, and I'll just buy the ones that I like, and that's fine. Or like you just, oh, that card looks neat, I'll buy it. I think that is a perfectly reasonable way to engage with the product, and it avoids this like FOMO level of like, oh, I need to get all of them. You just like, oh, that cool, Grim Hireling got a foil version. I need that for my Tribal Rogues deck. I'll just buy that. And then you just ignore all the other drops, and then you get surprised and happy when you see cool cards on the other side of the table. The other side of the coin, which is what I'm on, is I just set alarms on my phone for every secret lair drop, and I try to buy all of them as an asset class of just secret lairs in general. I think that there are some stinkers in there. There are certainly releases that don't end up gaining over the long term. And I think that the ones that gain over the long term significantly make up for and more the margin there. And I just try to flip the weighted coin every time. If it's a 60-40 coin, I should just flip it over and over and over and over again, no matter what. The good layers will outnumber the bad ones, and it will be fine. And I will just price them at a number high enough where I am comfortable owning them for a longer period of time. If they sell for higher than that, great. I do occasionally get multi-card orders of, oh, hey, I would like these 5 cards for my commander deck, and also I'll buy this secret lair that DJ gets to make $10 on and $20 on.
Yeah, it makes sense.
In the long term, I will continue to just slowly raise the price on them as it goes up with the market, and eventually you end up with these Princess Bride level secret layers, or like the Frank Frazetta ones that are over $100 a piece, or like the Angel deck that's 500 plus. And I think it's really hard to go wrong if you are somebody trying to operate at volume in this space and grow something, grow a brand, grow a business. You should be utilizing some of your capital to just go in on secret layers, because I think there's generally no shortage of things to buy in this industry. A long time ago, I used to be under the assumption of, oh, like if you're a Magic vendor, selling cards is easy, buying cards is the hard part. I think that has somewhat flipped, because there are so many versions of everything now. It is harder to sell individual specific SKUs. Like I think I have 50 to 60 Misty Rainforests, and the vast majority of them are just extended art foils. Regular one sells great.
Yeah.
Extended art foil one does not sell as well, so every time I get one, it just adds to the pile. And I don't think there's a shortage to buy collections. I don't think there's a shortage to buy secret lairs. I don't think there's a shortage to buy like new things people are excited about. Like you can buy specs. You can buy 100 timeless lotuses at $3. They'll probably work out great for you in 6 months to a year. I really don't think there's a shortage of places to put your money, secret lairs included. The harder part nowadays, the choke point, is using technology to get cards listed accurately, effectively, and put them through the selling pipeline, I think, is the harder part nowadays. It's definitely flipped of back in the day. It's like, oh, you have to scrounge to get collections. That's the only way to buy things. Or you have to be really good at paying attention to the market and buying your C16 commander synergy cards that go well with the decks. And nowadays, I am not ever at a point where I'm like, oh, I just have all this money sitting around and I can't buy anything with it. There's always something to buy that like is either arbitrageable from like overseas, or just putting in the work to find collections locally, or just buying commander precons. Like I bought a Galaxy Aang from Europe last week just because like the numbers worked out, and it's just like, oh, I guess I can just buy this and that's fine. Like it's just so much stuff out there now. And like the tools exist to give you that information too. Like I found the Galaxy Aang because impartially of MTG Ban.
Well, yeah, and the other thing is that's an interesting, topic you bring up, because even 10 years ago, it was way harder to physically buy a collection than it is today, where most people just come in with a mana box list ready to go for you, and you just say, a lot of times I'll just say, great, list looks good to me. Cards look like they're in fine condition. Thumbs up, here's some money, like back in the day, people come in with their rare binder. I mean, kind of like it is at a show, right? But they come in with their rare binder and you have to go through it all. And look, I still get my share of shoebox collections, but on the whole, the average buy experience is a lot smoother.
Yes.
Interesting point. Yeah, all very true. Okay. Yeah, I'm sure we'll talk more about this. Liz will be back in the future. She'll definitely have some thoughts as well. Anything else you want to add sort of on to wrap this up, DJ, before we move on to pick of the week?
Maybe this is a little bit of a confessional, but I am considering foiling out a second commander deck.
Oh, let's go, DJ.
It's been... So I have a personal rule that has held fast for over 10 years of I am not allowed to have more than 4 decks together at a time. Gonti has since retired as an art piece. The Gonti deck has since retired as an art piece, so that doesn't count. But I have had Sig, River Cutthroat, Rogue Kindred for a while. He got taken apart. He got put back together, which is that's the only deck I've ever taken apart and then later put back together. That is the current fully foiled out, ultra cool versions of everything. It has expeditions. It has a test print counterspell. It has a unreleased Grand Prix promo Sword of Feast and Famine that was supposed to be the GP promo. It got swapped for Stoneforge. Stoneforge got swapped from a Judge promo to GP promo. It's a whole thing. Sig is the blingy, shiny deck I have. I have it in a set of $400 sleeves.
I didn't even know that existed. I bought the premium wave sleeves one time. Does that
You've been to a Magic Con before when they're giving out the prize the prize cards from the Secret Lair events, right?
Yes.
And they have the pink sleeve on the back that says like Secret Lair prize card, and it's 1. Gotta catch them all.
Okay, man. Gotta catch them all. Good for you.
And so
I don't think that's worth $400, so I think that's actually
it's like $4 a sleeve.
It's worth whatever the hell you decide it's worth, because no one else has 100 of them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so my other deck that has been with me for basically the past decade, I think this deck's even older than Gonti, is Selenia Dark Angel.
Yeah, I remember that deck.
For those who don't know, it is a black-white angel from Tempest. It is a 5-mana 3/3 flyer. You can pay 2 life to return her to your hand at any point in the game. Used to work reasonably well with combat damage going on the stack, if you know what a floppy disk is. And like you would put the combat damage on the stack, bounce her, you great combat trade, great. But like the card is bad, and the deck is life swappy, life drainy, instant win shenanigans with Orzhov. So the deck plays near death experience, where the goal is to like get to 1 life and insta kill you. Sometimes you have Phyrexian Unlife in play and you go to -50 and you play Repay in Kind to make the whole table sit at -50. Sometimes you reverse the sands to kill 1 person, and then using your life gain from the life swapping, you use Sanguine Bond effects to kill another person. It's a very high tension, weird combo deck, and some people don't like combos at Commander because you're just like, oh, tooth and nail the Kiki-Jiki, but I really like this one because it's the combos are so high tension, life totals get very low or very, very high. Sometimes you're Children of Corliss with Enduring Tenacity. It's a whole weird pile of card drawy, life swappy nonsense.
It's the best kind of Commander deck because it's not built around a straightforward theme in terms of like, it's not a Merfolk deck. It's not a dinosaur deck, right? It's built around like a really unique mechanic. Yeah.
It makes a lot of readers. Most Orzhov decks are either tokens or flicker or some variation of
they're all
life
aristocrats.
Gain.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it makes a lot of readers. My friend was talking to me about the new Angel's Grace for the Strixhaven version, and I said, I can't in good faith play the Japanese mystical archive of this, because if you explain the card Angel's Grace to somebody, they won't believe you.
That's true.
What does that do for 1 mana? Oh, it says you can't win this turn, I can't die, and you can't respond to it or counterspell it. What?
It's that last part that is the absolute bullshit of it, right? Like,
and so I have waffled with the idea of foiling out this deck because it has been with me for about 10 years, and the universe has decided to tell me to do so by the fact that I've seen several high-end cards that would go in this deck on pull sheets. When I have generated pull sheets for orders, it's like, oh, somebody's buying a borderless Shadowy Backstreet from me, which is the Surveil land black-white, and it's like, oh, there's 1 more in inventory. When I pull it for the order, I could just zero out that quantity and sleeve it up. I have several serialized cards that go in the deck. I have a serialized Platinum Angel. I have a serialized Blind Obedience. I have a serialized what's the third one? I don't remember. But like, I have the Fracture Foil Herald of Eternal Dawn, which is the Platinum Angel with Flash.
Mm-hmm.
The universe is telling me to foil out this deck. Phyrexian Unlife in that new Phyrexia foil collection that came in today or last week.
There you go. Yep.
The Phyrexian Unlife and the Soul Conduit are both just. There's so many resources telling me to spend an absurd amount of inventory capital on this beautiful deck that has been with me for a long time, and
it's worth it.
I'm just opening the floor. I think to maybe to have everyone do the thing that I know they will do. Which is tell me to make bad decisions.
Scrubland? Yeah, do you play like Scrubland in your deck?
I would need to get an FBB Scrubland, yeah, I think.
Okay.
The alternative to that is I have a proxy set of 10 duels from that used to be my cube. And they're foil beta duels from the proxy guy on Twitter. And he changed the art to 10 different locations my brother has traveled to and camped at in the past 10 years.
Hell yeah. Huge shout out to the proxy guy as always. Anytime his name comes up, we have to give him a shout out because he's an awesome guy.
Yeah. So my brother used to travel a lot and do outdoor wilderness leadership and recreational training and stuff like that. And so like my tundra is some location he's been and all of these things. So I do have a foil beta Scrubland that has, I think it's from like Colorado or something, somewhere in the artwork. Nice. That's a picture he took when he was in Colorado. So I ran the numbers. There's only 3 cards in the deck that can't be foil. The signs are all there for sure. Yeah, man. It's fun. Commander's fun. Playing Magic is fun. I have 14 Commander decks. And thinking about making it. I haven't built a new one since I built Deadpool. And that's been a long time now. So I'm kind of looking for a new one. But I don't want to take any of them apart. For me, once I went past 12 and it went more than the box I was using and I had to get a bigger box, it became more room to fill rather than less, you know? That said, I think I'm going to take apart my Werewolves deck. It's just a sad... It's you know the feeling, I'm sure. I have no reason to take it apart, but I don't ever want to play it. And it's just...
the werewolves are just a
there's
really
actually an
sad
official
hole
Wizards
in
of the
Magic.
Coast support group for werewolf players. We'll put the link in the
Yeah, like
description.
it's just sad, man. It's just sad. Like the deck plays out like fine, but it's just nowhere near how you want it to be. Maybe if they make another set with day night, it'll be better. But
yeah, the second you bring out the day night token, everyone wants to.
I don't bring out the token.
What, you just raw dog?
It's, to be honest, it's usually pretty easy. It usually just stays day. And then it flips to night on my turn with Tovolar. It's almost always day in a commander game. But no, I don't have the token. It doesn't matter either because the only cards that, like, my werewolves only matter for the most part on my... Anyway, it doesn't come up very often, and I don't play the deck very often, but it is one of the many problems with the archetype in general in Magic.
Yes.
Angel's Grace, by the way, spiking pretty hard right now. Been on a huge run.
Or what?
Been on a huge run this year. Yeah, I mean, I say really hard. It's up from like $7 to $10 or $11, but you know.
I think I would need to get the Time Spiral.
It's
foil.
it's a $50-ish foil.
It is, yeah. The art for the English Mystical Archive, both the arts for the Mystical Archives in this Secrets of Strixhaven set are very cool.
Yeah.
Very, very awesome duality. But the Time Spiral foils, I think, are top 3 foil cards for me. And I think I'm playing Time Spiral basic lands.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Time Spiral foils
I had to
are
choose
cool.
for my basic lands. Choosing your basic lands is just such an astrology test.
I agree. I definitely have mine that I have a different one for every deck, but most of mine are like my best deck Carador, I have like unhinged foils in. But most of my newer ones I have just like whatever full art aesthetic I like from a set. And they're usually not even expensive, you know, it's usually like $1 a land. Although the banned lands I got from the KEXP drop are really cool, but those cost me quite a bit, but they're fun. All right, well, I think that means it's time before we get out of here for a couple picks of the week.
Pick of the week, pick of the week, pick of the week. Time for the pick of the week.
We're giving you a couple free ones talking about Angel's Grace going up, but I'll go ahead and start things off here. It's a Strixhaven card, an original Strixhaven card. It has started to spike, so it's kind of a breaking bulk of the week kind of thing, but it's only started to move in the past few days. So, Blex Vexing Pest. Familiar with Blex, DJ?
I am. I bought a collection from somebody 4-ish years ago, I guess, like shortly after Strixhaven released, and that person went in on this card, so I own 50 of these somewhere. And
oh, sure.
I mean, they're in like my bulk mythic bin.
Yeah, not bulk anymore. I'll tell you that. It's up to a couple dollars now.
And at some point, all I remember is the sad face this person made when they pulled out the Blex binder, selling their collection.
The Blex binder. Yeah, I guess maybe they thought that card would hit. It did not. It says other pests, bats, insects, snakes, and spiders you control get +1/+1. When Blex dies, you gain 4 life. You can also, I guess, cast it for the backside of 4 mana. Black card, look at the top 5 cards of your library, put any number of them into your hand, and the rest in your graveyard. You lose 3 life for each card put into your hand this way. Not exactly great on that end, I think, but the Blex itself is pretty cool. Strixhaven stuff, etc. It's starting to climb. It's
one of those things where modal cards are secretly way more powerful than people give them credit for, because the backside of a card can be terrible.
Yes.
But then sometimes it wins you the game, and the fact that it gave you the option to do that is so much invisible power. Like, I play the modal... We were talking about the modal DFCs recently.
We were talking about the lands, yeah.
And I sometimes Pinnacle Monk just brings back Breach the Multiverse, and it just...
Yes, it does that. Or Blood-Soaked... I don't remember the name.
Blood-Soaked Insight is the Hidetsugu one.
Blood-Soaked Insight is really good. It's all very fun. Okay, DJ, what are you looking at this week?
I am looking at an expensive card worth probably 700 Blexes, I think is the currency we're talking about.
Oh, God. Okay.
But Underground Sea from Revised, and
about that.
The asterisk is all of the revised duels, I think, are going to be worth significantly more by the end of the year. We were talking about the reserve list. We were talking about how there's there's this cyclical demand with this COVID-ish spike in everything. Power has gone up. I think duels will follow, and TCG low on HP Underground Sea is close to $700, which is a lot of money. I think before the end of the year and we've seen Underground Sea crest $1,000 previously. We've seen HP Underground Sea dance around the $900,000 TCG low number. I think we will hit there by the end of the year. We've seen such a massive influx of players. These players are on a trajectory. They get into the game. Some of them stay, some of them go, but then some of them get into Commander, some of them leave, some of them... And some number of these players, we're talking a very large sample size here, will dip their toes into wanting to own very old, expensive cards. And the powerful thing about not even just Universes Beyond, but the way Magic works in general right now, is you can open cards from $5 to $10 booster packs that let you trade for Underground Sea. You can open the serialized Emeritus of Ideation, and that is sometimes a down payment for a card for some people, but sometimes that is your on-ramp into these older cards where the value is just so stable and so just rock solid. Some of the most profitable events for me last year were the ones where people walked up and said, hey, I opened this Miku Snapcaster. I would like to go on a shopping spree, and my job is to facilitate that happening. Or the opposite side of, here is my entire binder. I want that Miku Snapcaster or Thanos Soulstone. I want to make it happen. And so these $1,000 cards coming out of booster packs nowadays, like you can get like a Foundations Llanowar Elf or something like that. Just your average everyday pack cracking. It doesn't even have to be like this huge booster box opening in search for Thanos Soulstone, but you have these on-ramps to cards like Underground Sea, and once they go into binders and decks, they take so long for them to leave. Like they sit in there for a while, and they end up being people's crown jewels of their collection that they don't want to get rid of.
That's all very well said. And then you throw in CDH sprinkling on top of that, which is probably the most active competitive format where people feel like they need dual lands.
The other really, really big driver of this that specifically makes this my pick of the week for this week is Vegas. Vegas is in a week and a half. I'm going to Vegas. I will be buying and selling cards there all weekend. Feel free to stop by the TOA Magic booth, say hi. I will be very, very busy, but I will still just love to see people when people just say, come up, hey, love the cast, bye. And Vegas is where a lot of these duels are going to transact next weekend, because this asset class of card is so focused on people wanting to see it and buy it in person. Like, yes, TCG has a buyer safeguard. Yes, you get your refund if somebody sends you a counterfeit or a damaged card that you were supposed to get in your mint, whatever. Yes, TCG Player, Mana Pool, eBay, these places are very buyer friendly and they have your back. But people want a story. Players want to remember the day that they traded into an Underground Sea. They don't want to remember the day they got it in the mail. Like, there's so many factors around just these kinds of cards transacting in person. People don't want to risk things getting lost in the mail. There's Vegas is where these big deals happen, and a lot of people are going to buy duels, and they might just start drying up on TCG Player soon in the next few weeks. And I think that, like I said, end of the year, $1,000 Underground Sea.
We've never lived in a world where we hit buyout levels on dual lands, right? Like, we've seen it with lots of older cards where the stock will get pushed down to 1 or 2 pages on TCG Player, and then very little movement can change the price.
In the grand scheme, it does not take all that money to buy all the dual lands on TCG Player. It takes a lot.
That's what I'm saying. We've never seen it before, but it's getting closer every day, right? Because
if you're a vendor, you're bringing 6 figures to Vegas. Like, it's possible. It's doable to just like buy all the duels on TCG Player. I'm not going to do it. I that's not me. Like, but as I said earlier during my little tangent, there are a lot of ways to spend money in this industry right now. And buying duels close to TCG low, and then building a brand, having a reputation, being the guy to go to for high Magic cards, pricing your duels at plus 15% of TCG low and saying, yeah, I'm charging more, but like, I'll take your trades and I will take anything you have. And also, you're getting it from me, so you know it's real and legit and conditioned accurately.
I regret selling a Tundra last year.
Charge more money.
True. All right. Well, I think that might do it for us this week. DJ, thanks for doing the 2-person pod with me. These are always fun. I think we actually did some real Magic finance this week. So hope for those of you who have been asking for that, you enjoyed it. And for those of you who are interested in the usual shenanigans and hijinks, we will be back to full strength one way or another here in a couple of weeks, or sooner, a week or two, we'll see. But either way, we will be back next week. We want to thank all of our patrons who go to patreon.com/BSB. You are the ones who make this podcast possible. Your support allows us to do this every week and pay our editors. So shout out to them. And shout out to you for listening to this show, whatever platform you are on. This is Brainstorm Brewery. We'll see you next week.
Radio.